Hello everybody, Jeremy Solt here with Banana Hobbies, and I've got your quick setup guide and a little bit of information on the B-1B from Xfly and Banana Hobbies. And so what I want to make sure you guys understand is a complete guide to help you set this up perfectly so you have success. The manual's a little confusing, and there's a lot of things on this airplane that we've not seen before, but I was skeptical at first, and we've actually validated that it works out really well. So with this setup, the intermediate pilot and advanced pilot should all have success on this. But if you feel like you don't like it, there's going to be 2 other videos after this that will explain other setups on there. But I also want to make sure you understand that I have also created an hour-long video of the in-depth setup of this airplane from unboxing to ready to fly, utilizing the stock integrated gyro. And so, big things to understand with this airplane is absolutely make sure, like it has on a sticker in there, do not connect your flap linkages up on the airplane until after you set up almost everything on the airplane. And so what you're going to do is after you end up getting the wings all attached and everything set up and you power up the airplane, you're going to sweep the wings back. When the wings go back, there's an automatic feature that pulls up the flaps to what's supposed to be neutral, allowing them to slide into the wing glove area inside the fuselage. Now, if you end up putting the linkage on there early, you may have it out of alignment and you're going to jam them and you're going to potentially burn them up. And so do not set up the trim or do not connect the linkage for the flaps until after you wing sweep the airplane in, you wing sweep the wings into the airplane, and then connect your linkage when they are back like that. After you get the linkage connected up onto there, bring your wings back out and then set your flaps. Your flap amount for extending is half rate, 5 millimeters. Full extension only needs to be 10 millimeters. So what does that mean? It means it does not take a lot for this airplane to use flaps. Okay, you don't want any more than that. There's no need to go more than that. So enough about flaps. The next thing that you need to know is that the gyro has some particular things that can happen and cannot happen. And so I want to make sure you understand that. So as far as rates on the airplane, a lot of us like rates, a lot of us like expo, and a lot of us like to trim the airplane while in flight. These 3 things are very particular with this airplane's integrated gyro. It's also part of the controller, so there are some limiting factors in there to prevent surfaces from overextending and or by doing so burning up. And so we want to make sure you know that, okay? So in this stock setup, your rates for aileron must be 100% and only 100%. Your rates for elevator must only be 100%, just like the aileron. And rudder is the only surface on this airplane that is allowed to have a rate. And this is all designed into the controller. So what does that mean? I like to fly with a low rate of 40%, a medium rate of 100%, and a high rate of 125. And so the rudder is the only one that is allowed to have multiple rates. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that a lot of us are going to go, holy cow, this airplane is going to be all over the place and whatnot. Trust me, what happens is that this airplane, while in the air, it automatically adjusts for expo and rates. And so they've designed this airplane to be very, very beginner friendly. And so it takes a lot of that out of the actual process. And so if you don't like the way the gyro is when there's other options. So stay tuned. In the next 2 videos, we'll talk about the other options. Okay, so now A couple of other things to make sure you guys understand in. Expos. There must not be any expo on aileron or elevators. Okay? The rudder, you can have some expo on there, and that'll help with your steering. That is allowed by the controller, and it is designed into the controller. The other big thing to make sure you guys know, which is going to be, people are going to be really either upset with this or they're going to be confused by this. They're just not going to see how it's possible. This is that while the airplane is flying, or even while you're taxiing out, or even while you have the airplane gyro turned on, do not trim the airplane. So what does that mean? That means these type of trims, okay? Do not adjust any trims of the airplane at all for anything on the aileron or elevator. You are allowed to do that with the rudder. It's designed into allowing you to trim the airplane on the ground or trim it in flight, but that is the only way that it's been designed into there. Okay, so the controller will automatically correct for rates, for travel, for expo, and for trim, all in the same flight. So kind of a neat little thing of being innovative. So it takes a lot out of the pilot's hands and automatically does that. Let's see, what other things? Absolutely make sure that when you plug in your gyro or you plug in your airplane that you are level. So we're going to actually show that. You must be on a level surface. So I have plugged in the airplane, and this is what you get. Okay. The airplane goes through its own little trim calibration settings, okay? And so just like any airplane, left is left, right is right, up and down, and rudders, you're good to go, okay? So right now, I have the airplane in the off position for the gyro. The reason I have it in the off position is to make sure you understand that in order to set up your sub trims and your level surfaces, you must turn the gyro off. Your initial setup must all be done with the gyro off. So what you want to do is when you have it in the off position, you want to make sure that your flaps are level, your ailerons are level all the way across the wing, that your elevator is level, slightly nose up is acceptable, and that your rudder is obviously straight and neutral within the thing. That is your neutral points as identified within the manual. Once you get those surfaces to what you're liking, then you also get your flaps to 5 millimeters and 10 millimeters, and that you've also verified that when you wing sweep your wings back, that your flaps actually go up when you do that, okay? At that point, your airplane should be set up, and now you must disconnect power, recycle your gyro switch is right here, back to on, okay? Repower your airplane, which again, do not move the airplane. I moved it, just so you can see. And what you'll get is you'll get the gyro calibrated. And if you look, when the wings go swept out, you get a nose down attitude with your elevator. Flaps will extend here in just a minute. There you go. Now we're going to end up doing the wings back. So again, your flaps are out. We're going to go wing sweep. Watch the elevator as it goes nose up. There you go. The airplane is a nose heavy feel when it is wing swept back. So you're going to feel it nose down just a little bit, but the elevator is told in the controller to compensate for that. Let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it. But just make sure that if you do any kind of, like if you don't like the gyro, There's other options for you. Make sure though that if you do turn the gyro off and you want to fly it with the gyro off, okay, you flick the switch, but you have to recycle power. If you don't recycle power, it will not turn off until the next flight. Okay, everybody, I forgot to mention a couple things real quick that were required in there. I want to make sure you understand, not to get scared, that when the gyro is turned on, you're going to get what looks like non-centering servos. The reason why you get that is because the controller is looking for physical flight movements, and it's looking for that so that it can adjust those. And so, like for instance right now, the elevator looks like it's sticking and holding and non-centered, but again, that is looking for gyro movement, and it will actually end up centering and doing exactly what it needs to keep the airplane flying level. You will see that potentially on aileron, elevator, and rudder when the gyro is turned on. Okay? That being said, sorry for that mix up, and I want to make sure you got that all understood. Thanks again.